as we always cover, International Transgender Day of Visibility, a completely manufactured holiday along with so many others these days. And my goodness, as always, sports fans did not disappoint. They did not. Here we go. CDS Uncensored. That's my boy.
Every
CDS
year in
Sports.
March, the same cycle plays out. The WNBA shares a post for International Transgender Day of Visibility, and almost immediately, the replies turn into a chaotic battleground. This isn't anything new. In fact, this is now the 4th straight year this exact situation has unfolded. But what makes 2024 stand out is the intensity of the backlash, and even more importantly, the type of people behind it. These aren't just random internet trolls. Take a closer look at the follower counts. Look at the verified profiles. These are individuals who actually follow the WNBA's official account, meaning these are supposed to be part of the league's own fan base.
Really want to embrace the visibility part, you should list the players in the league so we can see them. Shame on you for being cowards. Damn! Shots fired. Fever Stan, effing ridiculous. Get off this filth. Stop supporting mental illness. Ooh, that's not a thing. Oh, God.
One response, in particular, stood out immediately. CS Sports Podcast, a verified account with a strong presence in women's basketball coverage, didn't hold back. If you truly care about visibility, then name the players in the league so everyone can see them. Shame on you for being cowards. That's not a throwaway comment. That's a direct demand, calling on the WNBA to publicly identify any transgender players within the league. The message behind it is unmistakable. If you're going to celebrate this day, then prove it's more than just empty messaging. Show that transgender athletes are actually part of your league. The WNBA chose not to respond to that challenge.
You're a bit early for April Fools. Wow. Let that speak for itself right there. Yeah. Wow. Man, it is extra cooking in here. It's not April Fool's Day yet. This has to be a joke. My God, men taking spots of your athletes and you celebrate this. Absolutely.
That single comment set the tone for everything that followed. Within hours, hundreds of replies poured in, and the imbalance was impossible to ignore. For every supportive message, there were nearly 9 negative ones. That's not an opinion. It's simply what the numbers show. Scroll through the replies yourself. Get off this filth. Stop supporting mental illness. You're a bit early for April Fools. Men taking spots of your athletes, and you celebrate this. Absolutely demented. These aren't buried, obscure comments sitting at the bottom. These are some of the most liked and visible reactions on the entire post.
Women's sports can be great, but this BS turns most off. Yeah, so much for the feminist movement? Question mark? I mean, you turned into regular Megan Rapinoe's real fast. As soon as you retired, women can come play, men can come play in soccer. Women's soccer, oh, that got thrown out there real quick. Wait a minute, Megan, you retired now that you don't have to play against a man in women's soccer? Yeah.
But this is where things take an even more interesting turn. A large number of users quickly shifted the conversation toward Megan Rapinoe, the former U.S. women's national soccer team star who has been one of the most outspoken voices supporting transgender inclusion in women's sports. So much for the feminist movement. You turned into regular Megan Rapinoe real fast. As soon as you retired, men can come play in women's soccer. That shift in focus reveals something important about how this conversation has evolved. Rapinoe stepped away from professional play in 2023 after years of advocating for LGBTQ rights, including transgender inclusion. Now, critics are highlighting what they see as a convenient sequence of events. She supported these ideas while actively competing, but no longer has to face the possibility of competing against transgender athletes herself.
So I really hope Jaden Ivey pulls the ultimate FU, comes back as a woman to the WNBA. Woo! Yeah. Yeah. Are you serious? Women's sports are for women, period. Women have fought so hard for their space. Keep men out of women's sports. Why is this a hard concept? What a freaking slap in the face for the WNBA to post this. This person getting scared. Turn off the comments. Are you insane?
As the discussion continued, the tone became even sharper. How many besides Brittney Griner do you have or would allow in your league? Now, to be absolutely clear, Brittney Griner is not transgender. She is a cisgender woman who happens to be 6 feet 9 inches and has endured years of speculation and harassment about her identity simply because she does not fit traditional expectations of femininity. But the repeated mention of her name points to a deeper concern driving much of the backlash. There is a growing debate about whether physical advantages exist in women's basketball, and some are using Griner as an example in that argument. Regardless of the actual facts,
oh, let the men play in the WNBA while claiming to be women. You'd hate this shit. But y'all wouldn't let a trans woman play for you. Laugh out loud. Oh, man. By the way, people are already turning an eye at the W going, what are you going to post on Easter Sunday? Yeah. People are watching you already. Keep on cramming this stupid shit down our throats. We've accepted it already. Stop broadcasting. No, we had.
Then the conversation took on a religious dimension. You demons can F off. It's Holy Week, and that timing is not accidental. International Transgender Day of Visibility takes place on March 31st every year. In 2024, music. That date fell during Holy Week for Christians, just days ahead of Easter Sunday. Many commenters pointed this out, with some suggesting that the timing itself was intentionally provocative. Others went even further, warning the WNBA in advance. We're watching what you post on Easter Sunday. What are you going to share that day? Do you even have the courage to post anything at all? The underlying message is clear. Critics believe the league is willing to highlight transgender visibility, but unwilling to acknowledge or give equal attention to Christian observances. And this is where everything starts to come into focus. Because what we're seeing here isn't just a single post sparking backlash. It's not just one comment section getting out of control. It's something much bigger and much more complicated. This is what happens when sports, identity, culture, and expectation all collide in one place. The WNBA didn't create this debate. They didn't start it. But by choosing to publicly acknowledge International Transgender Day of Visibility, they stepped directly into the middle of it. And once you step into something like this, there's no neutral ground. There's no way to make a statement that everyone agrees with. Because for some people, this post represents inclusion, visibility, recognition, a signal that the league is willing to support communities that have historically been overlooked or marginalized. But for others, it represents something entirely different. They see it as political, as controversial, as something that doesn't belong in sports at all. And that divide, it's getting wider. What makes this situation especially interesting is not just the backlash itself, but who is driving it. These aren't outsiders looking in. These are people who follow the league, engage with its content, and in many cases, consider themselves supporters of women's basketball. That's what changes the conversation. Because now it's not just a clash between the league and critics. It's a tension within the audience itself, within the fan base. And that creates a very difficult position for any organization. On one side, you have a growing expectation for leagues to take clear stances on social issues. Fans, sponsors, and players all expect organizations to reflect certain values. Silence is often interpreted as avoidance. Neutrality can be seen as indifference. But on the other side, every statement comes with consequences. Every message reaches millions of people, each bringing their own perspective, their own beliefs, and their own interpretation of what that message means. So when the WNBA makes a post like this, it's not just a tweet. It becomes a flashpoint. And the reaction we're seeing shows just how sensitive that space has become. There's also another layer to this that often gets overlooked, the role of social media itself. Platforms are designed to amplify strong reactions. The more emotional a response is, the more engagement it generates. And the more engagement it generates, the more visible it becomes. So what ends up happening is that the most extreme voices, on both sides, rise to the top. Supportive comments exist. Nuanced discussions exist. But they're often drowned out by the loudest, most aggressive responses. And when people scroll through a comment section filled with negativity, it creates the impression that the backlash is even larger than it actually is. At the same time, the presence of verified accounts and well-known voices adds weight to that perception. It signals that this isn't just random noise. It's part of a broader conversation happening across the sports world. And that's where things become more complicated for the league moving forward. Because this isn't a one-time situation. This isn't something that will disappear after one post or one season. This is part of an ongoing conversation that is likely to continue evolving for years. The question then becomes, how does the league navigate that? Do they continue to make these kinds of statements, knowing they will generate backlash? Do they adjust their messaging to avoid controversy? Or do they accept that this tension is now part of being a modern sports league? There's no easy answer, because every path comes with trade-offs. Choosing to speak out can strengthen connections with some audiences while creating distance with others. Choosing to stay quiet might avoid immediate conflict, but raise questions about where the league stands. And in a world where attention moves quickly and reactions spread instantly, those decisions carry more weight than ever before. There's also the reality that sports have never existed in a vacuum. They've always reflected the culture around them. The difference now is the speed and visibility of that reflection. What used to be local conversations are now global. What used to be isolated opinions are now amplified to millions in seconds. And that means every decision, every post, every message becomes part of a much larger narrative. For the WNBA, this moment represents more than just a social media controversy. It represents a shift in how the league interacts with its audience, how it communicates its values, and how it balances competing expectations. And for fans, it highlights something equally important: the realization that following a league today isn't just about the game. It's also about the conversations surrounding it. Some people will lean into those conversations. Others will push back against them. And many will find themselves somewhere in the middle, trying to make sense of it all. But regardless of where people stand, one thing is clear. Moments like this don't just disappear. They shape perception. They influence how people see the league, how they engage with it, and how they decide whether to support it moving forward. And that's why this matters. Not because of one post, not because of one comment section, but because of what it reveals about where things are headed. This is the reality of modern sports. It's no longer just about wins and losses. It's about identity, values, and how organizations choose to present themselves in a world where every message is seen, analyzed, and reacted to in real time. And as this continues to evolve, the pressure isn't going away. If anything, it's only going to increase. So the real question isn't whether these conversations will happen again. They will. The real question is how leagues, players, and fans choose to respond when they do. If you made it this far, you're already ahead of most people having this conversation. So make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay locked in, because we're going to keep breaking down the real stories behind the headlines. And trust me, this is only the beginning.